I'm gonna zoom in on my eyeball. That's how ready I am.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the weirdest episode of Learn with Jason that we've done to date. This is Chris Biscardi's eyeball, and I think if we post enough boops, he might zoom out and become Chris Biscardi. All right, so hello everyone, and
That's so dangerous.
So yeah, super excited about this. For those of you who aren't familiar, Chris is a frequent guest of the show, one of my favorite people in the world, the one of the driving forces behind the Party Corgi Discord, and also responsible for why I'm wearing a tank top today. What do we do? Are we
I'm poking you.
Are we doing like a patty cake through the? Good. Somebody clip that. All right. Are we both using Apollo mugs today?
I don't know. Have you asked me about GraphQL today?
Have you asked me about Apollo today? I have to be careful about how I hold it though.
If I'm a lefty, we can be.
All right, Kurt. I've sent you my address for the check. Okay. Hey, thanks for the sub, Ryan. Ryan Warner Codes in the chat today. I see a whole bunch of familiar faces. What is up, everyone?
You changed the emote name to Let Chris Be 24 Party Corgi.
Wait, what?
I think he was trying to type "Let's go," but he messed up. But
oh. I got very confused by that. I was like, oh no, did all of my bot things just break? Okay, so it's going to be a miracle if we get through anything today, I think.
We have a lot to get through.
Yes. Okay, so let's go fast. Then, for those of us who are not familiar with your work, do you want to give a little bit of a background?
Yeah, sure. I guess in the context of Toast, the most relevant work started at so I've been a freelancer or consultant for most of my career, depending on time period and what I was doing and how much experience I actually had. But I joined a company called Docker, and we built a isomorphic React application like 5 or 6 years ago now. I don't know how time works since this year, but we did that, and that turns out to be a really great platform for static site generators and Jamstack Metaframeworks and stuff like that. So I inadvertently put myself into running a production Jamstack, whatever. And I ended up getting a lot of experience doing that. So that's that's one of my expertises now.
Yeah.
I built a prototype of a static site generator called Leo 5 years ago.
Okay.
Before Gatsby had a 1.0. And that was a prototype of a static site generator that used GraphQL for everything. And is why Gatsby has GraphQL support.
Nice.
And then, I've worked on Gatsby itself. I've worked on the core of other Metaframeworks. I've worked with clients on Next sites and Gatsby sites and all sorts of different things. So I'm sitting here today with my next Jamstack foray.
Nice. Yeah. So I guess that's probably worth talking about a little bit. So we're going to be working with a new Metaframework, like bleeding edge new, that you've built called Toast. Yep. So I guess the first question that is worth asking here is why build another Metaframework?
Why not? No,
I mean, okay, I mean, all right, I'll take that. That's a valid question.
I'm building, so there's a design space for Jamstack Metaframeworks, right? And there's this spectrum, there's multiple spectrums, right? The one I'm going to talk about today is there is a spectrum of Jamstack Metaframeworks, and all of them are here, or very far over here, in that they all use Webpack. They're all very dependent on Webpack. You get a bundle out of them. You have to deal with all of the complexities of Webpack and the complexities of even additional systems on top of Webpack, like Gatsby themes, or even just the GraphQL layer in Gatsby or whatnot, right? So this over here is
It's so far over here that here, let me grab it real quick and I'll bring it over here. It's over here.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
It's over here. Like right over there. Well, I gotta point to the left. I'm switch. Oh, I'm that way. It's over here. That way. It's really far.
This but
they're all built on Webpack, right? And that gives us a lot of complexity, and it gives us a lot of like undebuggability when we're building our sites. And it's just like we don't necessarily have to do that anymore. Because I think while we were all diving into Webpack, which, by the way, was the right decision for every framework that was built in the last like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But there was no other choice, really. The other choices were like Parcel recently, or like if you want to do a bunch of custom stuff, maybe Rollup a little bit less recently. But yeah, Webpack was like has been the choice and a solid choice for a very long time, and I don't think we have to do that anymore, because browsers support ESM by default. So I'm taking from like over here. I'm gonna take your little dot.
Here, give it back.
I'm gonna
there you go.
Move it this way, and we're gonna go like over here. And this is the design space I'm exploring, because nobody else is over here right now. Actually, after I started exploring this area, like, do we call it Vite or Vite? I've actually never heard anybody pronounce it.
That's a great question. I would have said Vite, but that's because I'm very bougie and I consider myself multicultural.
Can we do the silent G, like Vie?
Vie. I don't know.
But yeah, I wish they did a video releasing that, because then I would know how to pronounce it. But they're building a little bit of the same thing. Snowpack has come out since then. So like Snowpack is doing a bunch of ESM. Like basically we have a large ecosystem of tools that we're using, and not all of them are written with ESM in mind.
Right.
So we kind of use Snowpack to like take those and like put them into the nice little packages, and then we can use them as ESM directly in the browser. And that's really cool. But Snowpack doesn't focus on server-side stuff, so it's not a Jamstack Metaframework. It's just a client-side single-page application tool. So we need extra tooling on top of that, and that's what Toast is. And then Vite is specifically for Vue. It's really cool. I've heard it should work with Preact fairly straightforwardly, but also like it's a Vue tool. It will always have Vue assumptions inside of it, I think. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and this is like, I think this is an exciting space to be in, because I think that like there's a difference between building something just because you can and building something because the timing is right. And I think that we're seeing the limitations of the current Jamstack Metaframework ecosystem. When you've got something like Gatsby, or when you're working with like Jekyll or any of these things, you start to see this breakdown now when you work at scale with trying to ship things, that the build process just gets kind of untenable. It starts to push you back toward building server rendered everything, because it's not really like it doesn't really make sense to be shoving all of your content through something like Webpack when really all you need is like just a little bit of JavaScript on every page. So it feels like you said, that the tools were right at the time because there was no real alternative. But because the ecosystem is evolving, there's an opportunity here to have the best of both worlds. We can have really fast builds, and we can have really static, dynamic apps built from static assets, which is, I think, in my opinion at least, that is currently my starting assumption. Anything that I build, I want to be static assets that generate a dynamic experience. I don't want to rely on servers. I don't want to have to deal with ops or scalability. I just want to be able to throw all my stuff up on a CDN and know that it's going to work. And so it sounds like we are approaching the point where that is actually viable as a production step. And when I say approaching that point, I don't mean that it's not possible, because clearly you've got stuff running in production on Toast now. But I mean in the sense that the tooling is starting to stabilize to the point where it's no longer bleeding edge.
Yeah, we're hitting a point where like
these are not bibs; these are tank tops. They're corgi tank tops. Do we have a link to these?
It's the Egghead store, so you could probably find it very easily.
Yeah, let me grab it here. Here's
corgi bibs. We do need some bibs though, like party corgi bibs. I want to do like party corgi masks so people can go outside.
Ooh, I like that. And they'd
Like,
be really
same
cool if they
pattern,
looked like corgi mouths and then just had rainbows on the sides.
That'll go fantastically with the onesies with the momos.
Oh my God. I'm thinking we should just, do you want to just quit tech and start a clothing company?
I mean, we're gonna have to build the site for the clothing company. So
yeah. Okay. All right. We'll do that.
But
tech is a roach motel. Once you come in, you
alternative approaches to existing in a tech ecosystem, building party corgi and merch shops.
Yeah, it's ultimately like this. I think this is the ultimate destination. Is I've been working my whole career to get to the point where I can just run swag stores, and you've been building the party corgi network. And I really think that where we're going to end up is that you and I are going to run a corgi cosplay store. Like that's it. That's the end of our journey.
That's it. All right, I'm in.
Okay, so I know that we've got a lot to cover today. So
we just committed to that on stream.
Good. Yeah. Great. This is. Yep. That's my retirement plan. It's not a food truck anymore. It's now corgi cosplay.
We can put a kitchen in the back though.
Perfect.
Your food is great.
All right, game on. Let's do it.
Right.
So I'm going to switch over to pairing view here so that we can see what's going on. First and foremost, make sure that you go and follow Chris on Twitter. Let's also do a quick shout out to our sponsors. Yeah. We've got live captioning going on from White Coat Captioning right now. Thank you so much to Kelly, who's in the chat who's on the call right now doing the captioning for us.
Thank you, Kelly. You're wonderful. Sorry for what we're about to do.
Yes, sorry for all of the ridiculous things we're going to make you transcribe today. And I love it. Thank you, Kelly. And the captioning is made possible through contributions by Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0. So thank you so much for kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people. We really, really appreciate that. So let's take a little
side note. Have you ever seen somebody caption? It looks super hard and like
I'm
super impressed with people that do that.
Yeah, it's they're like the I don't know if everybody does this, but like the stenographer's keyboards that are like you play chords instead of keys. It's so wild to see. Go look it up on YouTube. It's amazing.
Very cool.
They're very, very cool. Okay, so let's talk toast. I prefer mine to be a light brown. Like I don't want it to go to burnt.
I prefer mine as a blended drink. So I can sip it.
Good. Speaking of ridiculous, I think I saw a minute ago, Prince, who I see in the chat. Prince, did you have a bot come into the chat here a minute ago? Let's talk about toast while Prince comes up with a response to that. It was me.
Careful, he's been writing bots lately.
I know. I've been watching it. So if also as we're getting started, there's a lot of party corgi stuff being said here. You should wait. What's my command for this?
I don't know. What's the command for this? Discord.
There it is. There it is. So Discord, not whatever. I don't know what's going on, but this is the Party Corgi Discord, which is a group of people who do content creation, app experimentation. They're learning development. They've been doing development forever. They're drawing it. There's a D&D group in there now, book clubs. Like it's such a cool space full of super supportive people. So come hang out with us.
Yes, please do. It's actually amazing.
It's really, really fun. Like it's one of the places that I spend the most time in on the internet. So
Leaping Lemurs, like it's pretty much this.
It really is. Like it's silly, it's ridiculous, but it's super fun and super supportive. And we've got great moderation. We've got a code of conduct. So it's a good place to be. So let's talk tech for a minute. So we have.
Let's do that.
So Toast, if I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing when I build a Toast site, what should I be thinking about, or like where should I start?
If you're going to build a Toast site from scratch, you're going to start here at this site, Christopher Biscardi /new Toast site. You're going to clone this repo, you're going to run it, and then you're going to take a look around and see what's what and like if it can work for you and whatnot. This is a wonderful Toast image, but there are some like how to do this here with the clone and the build and stuff. There's a couple of things in here that say like, yes, we have first class Mdx support. So one of the things that I really love about Toast is that we don't use Webpack, which means that Mdx becomes like really, really, really well supported. Like if you try to do dynamic imports in an Mdx file in Gatsby or Next or something like that, you start running into like major problems, right? But with Toast, you can build your site with the infrastructure that Toast gives you, and then you can go to your Mdx file and start pulling things in from Unpackage or whatnot. And you can start pulling things in dynamically with the browsers, like dynamic imports and whatnot. And you can do whatever you want. You can build an extra app and pull it in. And you can do it with Intersection Observer and things like this with the Mdx provider. And all of this combines to be like, if you want to build really, really interactive blog posts, which is kind of what Toast is for at this point, and you want to use Mdx to do that, Toast is the best place to do that because you can include very heavyweight, dynamically loaded when they're needed examples, and it doesn't bloat the rest of your site.
Ooh, yeah. And that's been the dream, right? Because, you know, when we're building these Mdx sites, the promise is that you can pull in components to make your posts more dynamic. But if you have a lot of dynamic posts and you have to load every single component used anywhere on your site just to load a single Mdx post, that doesn't feel good. That feels messy, right? And so being in a position where we can do those very ambitious things with our posts and know that we're not taking a huge performance hit for having done it, that to me is a really good thing. It's a big promise, right?
Yeah, and like I said, like this is the result of not using Webpack, right? Like I've built the integrations or been involved with the integrations for Mdx for a bunch of different meta frameworks, and they're great in various ways. Like Gatsby's integrates with its GraphQL layer. Next has 2 different ones that can let you do local stuff or remote stuff. But like the fact is that if you want to use a component in an Mdx file in one of those systems, you have to run it through Webpack, which means that you have to do like this weird pull out the scope, write it to a file, throw it through Webpack with the rest of the bundle, and then pull it back in when your application runs. And it's like from an infrastructure perspective, like it's a super pain. And from a debugging user end perspective, it's also a pain because if something goes wrong, you don't know why. And you get like an error about some random scope directory or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think like this, I think is highlighting like why it makes sense to build Toast now. Because it's sort of like Webpack was the best tool for the job at the time that it came into popularity. The same as like jQuery was the best tool for the job when jQuery kind of normalized JavaScript in the browser. But over time, the browser caught up. The browser was able to implement the best features of jQuery, and then it became more complicated to do something with jQuery than to just use document.querySelector or to use fetch instead of jQuery.ajax.
Or React.
Yeah,
or
like
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I think we're seeing is, you know, the fact that we don't want to use Webpack anymore isn't because Webpack is bad. It's because Webpack was so good that the browser implemented the good parts. And we're seeing
hilariously is the same story for IE6 and other situations.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, but what I love about it is that, especially with the new adoption with like the ES standards that are evolving every year, we're seeing a more of a collaboration where the community says we want this feature, and then based on the usage, the popularity, the adoption, then the browsers are able to quickly implement those features, which means they disappear as something that you need a Babel preset for, or that you need Webpack to compile. And I think that what we're seeing in dynamic imports, what we're seeing with ES modules being supported natively in the browser, is that the browsers have caught up enough to Webpack that we can feasibly build complex applications in a way that's actually easier than Webpack. Because the browsers adopted all the best parts. So I think that it's just worth calling that out, because what I think we want to avoid is any indication that like, oh, Stampede, here we go. But we want to avoid any indication that Webpack is like a bad tool that you shouldn't use. It's actually exactly the opposite. Webpack is so good that the best parts of it have been integrated into the browser.
Do you have a crab costume and a cowboy hat?
No. Should I?
Well, Chad is asking for it, so it's gonna have to happen at some point.
But why? What is?
E-claw, Jason.
Oh, ye claw. Okay, all right.
Because there's a lot of people in the Party Corgi Discord learning Rust right now, and we're super into ferrets and crabs.
Okay. I haven't learned Rust yet. I'm intentionally not learning Rust because Prince is going to come on the show and teach me Rust, and I want to make sure that I ask him all the beginner questions.
I'm excited.
So I want to start building something, and I thought that something that would be fun is to I want to port over JSON.AF, or at least part of it, because I think this would be a fun one to bring over, and it's also like it is simultaneously simple and very complicated.
Oh, that one?
It's that one. Yeah. Okay. So
I thought it was this one for a second.
I can't do that
I couldn't do when I was a kid.
I still can't do it. But yeah, so that
you twirl a pen too. Yeah, you have those skills.
I don't think so. I think I like kind of learned this one. Hold on, let me see if I can do it. No, not very well. Like in slow motion, I control a pen. Okay, so right now the JSON.AF site is built on Gatsby. Because I wanted a statically generated React powered site, because I'm doing things like here. This is just easier in React. I started out doing it in plain JavaScript and just didn't want to keep doing that. It was just hard enough that I was like, this is going to keep me from actually building stuff on this site. But I'm really, really excited to kind of push ahead and turn this into a full-blown Toast site, because that'll give me both things that I want. I want the flexibility of being able to build this thing in React, but I also don't want to ship a ton of code to the browser. And it sounds like Toast is going to let me drop a lot of bundle size.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do this. What should I do?
What should you do? You're going to need to clone JSON.AF into a new repo or something locally. We're gonna be working with it.
Okay, so let's git clone.
I forgot we were in a different call, and I was like, why is his voice so delayed?
Oh, wait, are you listening to the Twitch stream?
No, I have the Twitch stream muted, but I'm watching it, and it's just like I hear the words, and then the actions come like.
Yes.
Like we're reacting in slow-mo.
I was on a call. I did a stream with Jesse from Graph CMS, and he wasn't able to screen share, so the only thing I could do was watch the Twitch stream with like a 4-second delay. So as he was coding, he was like, "Is that right?" And I was like, "Please hold."
You know what? I had to play Fortnite with Ryan like that at one point.
Oh, that's
we were playing competitive, and like I forget what exactly happened, but something died on my end, and I had to watch his stream to listen to the audio.
Wow.
And play.
That sounds brutal. Hey, thank you for the subscription. I saw Will Johnson subscribed a bit ago. Black Tech Diva just subscribed. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to see you here. Remember to spam those boops.
Someone has a question about Toast. Do you see Toast as an alternative to the other asset solutions that Webpack does? And we'll see what this is as we go through here, because we'll have to. JSON.AF is actually a perfect site because it has SVGs, it has CSS, it has like all the things that like you don't want to rewrite when you go to Toast. You just want to kind of like port it.
Yeah, I just want to
like,
move
decide what you want to do with it later, right? Like you don't want to have to rewrite everything.
Mm-hmm.
Lori is in here going, what did I miss? Everything.
You missed everything.
Oh man. Okay, so you're gonna have to install at Sector, Breadbox, and also Toast.
Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to npm install at Sector Toast.
Yep.
Sector
slash Breadbox, and then Toast is its own package.
Oh, got it. Okay. Anything else? Preact, right?
No.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. Was this it?
Yeah, I'm like looking around the boops, trying
Oh
to
yeah.
make sure that I see
I need to. I'll pull
Yes.
this up a little bit so that
You
the
need a
boops
second
don't.
like a like live view for yes, install that. Um, so there's two things that need to happen for a toast site right now. One of them is that we need to take like the third party dependencies and stuff like that and convert them into a like thing that is usable in the browser for ES module files kind of thing, right? Like
Okay.
there's this situation right now where because we came up through Node and CommonJS was the big thing and it won over AMD and ES modules wasn't there yet, that all of our infrastructure is typically built on CommonJS, right?
Okay.
So Toast wraps Snowpack and uses Snowpack to do this like third party sort of like if you think of like the main Toast app as like not being bundled or like unbundled or whatever you want to call that, which it has a fairly strong opinion about.
Mhm.
We still kind of need to bundle like our npm packages because they come. If you import Lodash, you'll get like hundreds of packages.
Right.
And
Right.
that's not great. So
Thank you for the sub, Audio Lindy. Okay, so it looks like I installed all sorts of nonsense in here. I have both React and Preact installed on this site for reasons
Yes, you
beyond
do.
my comprehension.
Because you can't avoid that with Gatsby.
I don't know what I did. I think at one point I was trying to use this plugin, and I think it either did work and I forgot to clean up, or it didn't work, and so I went back. But
I think it's in the Gatsby config. I think you're actually using this.
I'm doing it. Haha. Okay, so that's actually a good thing because that means that we know the site's going to work with Preact when we move over.
Yes, that's awesome. But also like this is one of those things where like you can't avoid like installing React and stuff if you're using Gatsby. You can't.
Right.
It's like the entire ecosystem is based around it kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we now have to run breadbox. So if we do yarn breadbox, and there's an
I think I need to just
or
do
npm. What's npm's equivalent of running binaries? Yeah. Okay.
npm. What is it?
I don't know.
It's
not npm.
I'm just gonna add a thing because I can't remember what it is. So let's just add.
We're trying to run a local binary, y'all. It's not npx.
But don't ahem me. I know what we're doing. We'll say breadbox, right? Any
npx uses local binaries if they're installed. That's scary. What does it do if they're not?
Well, that's when it pulls them from npm. Also, that's wild that does that. Okay, so
yeah, so we have to run breadbox. I don't want the thing that I use to randomly like decide to install the internet if it's not around. I just
install
want
the
it to fail.
internet. Okay.
Okay. So get rid of your cacher, your Gatsby cacher, and like any like Gatsby build artifact directory.
Got it. Public. Didn't have any of those. What do I? Oh, I didn't install anything. I don't think. Like I think I only installed Toast and Breadbox, so there weren't any other dependencies.
We're gonna have to get rid of Gatsby in a second here, but like this is kind of like the first step of porting a site from Gatsby to Toast, right? Like we have to remove Gatsby at some point, and that's what we're working through at the moment.
Got it. Okay, so it doesn't like Gatsby.
Like, show the errors. It doesn't like Gatsby. Yes, I know. That is unintentional, but also hilarious.
Yeah, so it's choking on something in Gatsby browser entry.
Gatsby out of the package JSON, right? Because Gatsby has this cacher. Gatsby browser entry is like Gatsby is not built for ESM.
Should I dump all the Gatsby stuff?
Don't dump all the Gatsby stuff. You import some of it in some of your components.
Got it.
Just dump Gatsby.
Okay.
And I mean, we can probably get rid of Gatsby plugin Preact, or like one or two of the others, but we don't have to. the moment.
Yeah, we'll clean this up as we get further and further here. We'll start dropping out the things that we're not using. The intention, ultimately is to get rid of as many things as possible so that we're, not bundling a bunch of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, like we have there's a difference between porting a site and building a site greenfield, right? Like building a site greenfield, you can start and you can be like, yes, I want this file and that file, and that's what's going to build my page. And then there's like porting a site, which is it's still going to be in your. Oh yes, cannot resolve Gatsby package JSON. This is the error that we want to see. This is because you're importing Gatsby in your components, and Snowpack is scanning it, finding that, and being like, yes, we must need Gatsby. Let's compile Gatsby.
Okay.
So we need to go into, I believe the locations that you're going to find this are in source pages. And like you can do an ACK for Gatsby if you want to, or like whatever your preferred method of searching for Gatsby imports is.
I have a search thingy. Where is it? Activity bar.
So much more room for activities.
Okay, so I've got this one.
You didn't get it, chat. You didn't get it.
I didn't get what?
We've got so much more room for activities. You open the activity bar.
Oh. Okay. So with this, I can just make this into a link, like a regular link, and we can deal with any other stuff that happens with that later. And then I can drop this.
Also, hello, Amberly. Good to see you.
Hey, Amberly.
The matching tees are amazing, I do have to say.
I never wear this because Marissa has decided that she won't be seen in public with me while I'm wearing a tank top, which
well, guess what?
I find
we're required to not go into public.
Gotcha.
Hey, Lori, we mentioned you when you came in. You just didn't, hear us.
Yeah,
I saw you come in.
I think that's on
you.
Honestly, you weren't paying attention.
It was still on an ad.
Okay, so I've dropped out all the references to Gatsby, I think.
Okay.
Let's try it again. Closer.
That looked better.
Cannot resolve entry model.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my nonsense.
Yep.
Great. So I built that.
So guess what we're gonna do?
We got to go patch it.
Yep. We're gonna install patch package.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're gonna install patch package because what we're gonna do today is just sort of like fix everything here.
Okay.
We don't like. Ideally, we would fix this in your package, like on GitHub or whatnot. But like, we don't need to like go and publish a bunch of shit.
I'm feeling like I'm feeling a little vulnerable that it's my code that's breaking this. Like, it's like, of course, this is actually going to be my really garbage code.
It's not like your code isn't garbage, right? Like, you've just built to the assumptions for the environment that you used it in. And this is the problem with a lot of NPM packages. They're built with the assumption that you're going to Webpack, right?
Yes.
And like things like AWS SDK and Amplify are an extreme version of this. They have like 100 sub packages, and they expect you to run it through Webpack and have a build step and like do all that stuff. And they're just like, you can't just include it in the browser and use it because they need you to run it through Webpack.
Yeah.
Most packages, there's a couple of little fixes that you can do, or like they just work, right?
So I have
tools like microbundle and whatnot make this a lot easier for package maintainers.
Nice. Okay.
But you actually have a build step in this that is supposed to build ES. But
yeah. I probably like copy pasted something and I was like, whatever. Side note, I now really want a guided meditation from you where it just plays calming music in the background and you just say, your code isn't garbage, just over and over again. Like that's what I really want.
How long?
I don't know. A supercut. I want a 10-hour supercut.
10-hour supercut. If I'm gonna make you a 10-hour supercut, you're gonna have to listen to it
just all day long. Just reassurance. Your code
Jason.
is not garbage.
Your code. It's not garbage. You write
Your
good
code.
Jason.
Your code has value. Your code matters.
Have value. You matter.
I love it. Okay, so I've installed patch package, and I've never actually used this before. So what does this do?
So patch package is a package that you don't often use, right? And you actually, it's not critical that we use it. But in this case, because we're on stream and we're trying to get stuff done, we're going to use it. It's the idea that you're going to install stuff through npm, right? And maybe it has a bug, maybe it has a thing you need to fix. In this case, we've got your React tweet embed, if I remember the package name correctly. And we have to add a file to it, basically. Because if we look at the React tweet embed in Node modules, wait for it to appear on screen.
Here we go.
This is suspense. This is dramatic pausing.
Sorry, that was honestly just me like trying to read the chat and then processing what you said and catching up. So I'm in the Node modules in React tweet embed.
Yes, go to package.json.
Okay.
This is going to be weird because I can't see it on the screen until you do it like 2 seconds later. Go to scripts.
Scripts.
Well, scripts, and then there's main somewhere. So you've got this compile ES thing in here that does some Babel stuff, right? And then if we go to main is this index.js, but we're not using main, we're using module.
Right.
Because Snowpack uses rollup, which is an ES module first bundler.
And my ES module didn't bundle. Oh, no.
You didn't build and ship it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to manually copy the file and source index. If we look at the file and source index, we will see that it's basically already ESM.
Yes.
Right. We don't actually need to do anything to this. There is one thing that we need to do, but we'll get that to in a second. So copy this file into an ES folder as index.js so that it gets picked up by that module field in your package.json.
Okay, and so I'm just like, so I've done this locally.
Yeah.
And I'm into it. But so patch package, are we just going to tell it to do this for us, or? Yeah,
so now we've made a change in Node modules, right? And we need this change to happen every time we install everything, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to run patch package, which we forgot how to run npm stuff because I only use Yarn. So,
I know I can do it this way. Patch package.
This feels wrong.
It works.
And then we have to put the module name after it. So what this is doing is this is going to, so it's going to be at jlensdorf like React tweet fed. This is going to save out a patch file. And the patch file is going to have the diff basically of what we did versus what gets installed. So if you ls or look for patches or whatever, you now have a patch file. And it will apply this patch file to that whenever you install. So now actually, like, we don't need to publish your package. If we ship this to Netlify later, it will just like build.
It'll just work.
We have to add a post install script, but like that's not super important for our purposes right now.
That's wild though. Like that's super cool that works.
Yeah, it's basically like get stash, get pop, right?
And so effectively, like, so if I to use this, I'm just going to add post install, and then as part of the post install, I'm going to run patch package,
and that's it. Well,
or do
you don't need to. So the module specific version of this is like to save out patches.
Oh, so when I run it
like
without
package, yeah,
it'll just go find this patches folder and apply whatever patches are in there.
Yep. We're not going to use the script right now because we want to make sure that we're understanding what we're doing.
That's super cool. Yeah.
So that we don't run into extra errors. So get rid of that script so that it doesn't because we're going to install a couple things.
Yeah,
we don't want it to just like do whatever.
Yeah. So I'll make sure it doesn't run by this. This is a little hacky thing that I've learned. Okay. So do you want me to do anything else in here? You said there was one more thing I had to fix.
There is. You can run breadbox now though, and we'll see the error and then we'll fix it.
Got it. Breadbox. It says unexpected token, line 44.
Okay.
So let's go look at line 44.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't like my JSX. Is that correct?
That is correct. So JSX is not ESM standard, right? Like you can't run JSX in the browser. So what we're going to do here is just do react.create element instead of JSX.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've done this. So create element, and then it's div, and then the ref is just a like this,
an object. Yeah.
Is that correct? I haven't done this in a really long time.
I'm waiting for you to finish on stream. Yes, it looks correct.
You know, I'm sharing the Zoom call with you. You could see this.
Are you? That would have been a good thing for me to know.
I thought you knew.
Pay attention to. Well, you know, sometimes you know things, and then it's just like. Okay, cool. I'm looking at the Zoom call now. That's great. I don't have to look down at my monitor.
It did the thing.
Yes. So that was really the only thing that we needed to change to get Breadbox to like work for the first time, right?
Wow. Okay.
Now we've got a couple. We've still got a problem with this, but like, take a look at this output, right? You don't see this output normally, right? You don't see how big your stuff is and what you're putting on the site, usually or by default, right? You can see here that Matter.js is gigantic,
enormous.
React Helmet also pretty big, but does broadly down to like 8 kilobytes, right?
Yeah.
So like, you can just look through this and be like, oh man, I have a really large whatever. I'm gonna get rid of that.
What have I done?
Like, well, like look at Gatsby image. How big do you think Gatsby image is?
Yeah, right. I actually didn't realize that Gatsby image had a lot of code in it.
Yeah, right.
I intellectually knew that it had code in it
because there's nothing that told you ever.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of a problem here in that if you look at the common directory, there's if you can look at the common helpers if you want to, and like actually show it on screen so that we can tell the people.
Show the people. Let's see. Here's our web modules. Common helpers.
Yeah. So look at this. This is just like wrapper code, right?
Yeah.
Like this is just CS mod or common JS to ESM like wrapper code basically.
Okay.
And this got pulled out because it's in a bunch of different stuff. Specifically in this case, I believe it is in React because React is still being processed.
Right. Yeah, it is.
So what we're going to do is alias React to Preact.
Heyo.
So go to your package JSON for the project.
I am here.
And go like to the bottom or something, or like find a free key space. And you have the bugs URL. You're so professional.
Man, I copy pasted this from somewhere. I actually think it's still 100% still pointing to I gotta just get rid of that. That's all incorrect. All of that is wrong.
Gatsby starter hello world there. Wow. I didn't even look at the values. I only looked at the keys and thought you were wonderful. So we're gonna have a Snowpack key here because Toast uses Snowpack under the hood for this.
Okay.
And then
the Snowpack key?
Right, Snowpack.
Got it.
Get rid of the extra quote. Yeah. This is going to be an object. There's going to be install options, camel case. Inside of that, there's going to be alias.
Is that an object again?
Yeah. A lot of objects. There's a lot of config you can do. In this case, we're just doing aliases. So this is going to be another object.
Okay.
And we're going to alias React, which is the key name, to preact/compat.
Ooh. Okay.
So what this will do is that Snowpack touches everything, basically, right? And let's run Breadbox and take a look at the output.
Okay.
So let's go into our. Did you save the package JSON?
Thought I did. Let me save again. Gonna. You want me to like dump it and rerun?
Should just work.
Is it?
Okay. Well, Common JS helpers is still there. That's fine. Take a look at one of your components. Like, okay, so actually, what there was there two index dash whatever files here, in common, and now one of them is gone.
Look at this though. React.
But this is what happens.
We've got.
If you look at tweet embed, you see that it actually imports from Preact compat, even though you were importing React. So using Snowpack, we can just alias our imports to whatever we want, whenever we want. In this case, we're sort of getting rid of React and Gatsby and whatnot, right? So
yeah, cool, very cool.
That's super exciting, right?
That's like, super exciting.
We can just be like, yes, we want a lighter weight version of React. Done.
In what, 5 lines of code here? So that's pretty slick.
So we've got everything breadboxed, I believe, right?
Yes.
So let's run Toast. Like we've got the third-party dependencies handled. I keep saying yarn. You don't have yarn. Run Toast Incremental, which is the build command.
Okay. Oh, missing something. Cannot find module globby. Globby, no.
Do we have Toast installed?
I might have uninstalled something. Let me do this because I've had this happen a couple times to me where I'm actually just going to change this out. We're going to make the build command into Toast Incremental. I think something is up with my node modules where when I like uninstall things, it will sometimes take other things with it that it wasn't supposed to, and I have to like delete and reinstall.
That never happens to me with yarn.
So I have, as a result of this show, I have like 15 versions of Node and like 3 versions of NPM running. So I think there's a lot of
non-standard setups.
A lot of chaos going on in here. So let's NPM run build, which will be Toast Incremental. And now it's missing, still missing globby.
Ben is saying that this is actually a thing. I don't know why that's a thing because it wasn't for me when I was using yarn. So npm does different module resolution apparently.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to install globby so that it doesn't continue to yell at us. And then we'll run the build again. Stop it. Cannot find module Toast. Oh, do I need to add
using npm or something?
Do I need to add a toast.js file like a config?
You don't know.
It says
that is actually that's required and tested and like in a try catch, and like that error should not show up.
Is it possible that I have
happening here?
Is this the latest version of Toast?
It is. I should try this with npm later, but
you want me to use yarn instead?
I don't. What node version are you on right now?
Great question. Let's find out. 12? You want me to use a different one?
I was using 11 when I went through this, but I don't think it matters. That like specifically that code is wrapped in a try catch inside of Toast, and like the error is not rethrown because it's expected that you don't need a toast.js file. So I have no idea what the like complications with the node modules that are happening right now is. But it should not be.
Let's just try this instead.
Somebody's saying try removing the package lock in chat, but
I did remove the package lock, and I just switched over to yarn, and it still wants a toast.js, so I'm just gonna create one. Do I just need to export?
Sure. I don't think you need to export anything.
Just have it exist.
Yeah, because it'll do a second check for the life cycles and if they're defined. Okay, so this is an actual Toast problem. Like this is a regular thing.
Okay.
When we did breadbox, we put breadbox in like a random folder, right? And Toast uses the public folder for all of the output. So we need to add a --dest option to our breadbox command.
Okay. It was up here. Like that?
I believe it's public/web modules _.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of like standard folder that Snowpack puts
Oops.
stuff.
Breadbox.
In the future, Breadbox will be integrated with Toast, and you won't have to run it separately. But
now what are you yelling at? You knock it off. Oh, I need to do my
yarn patch package or npm run patch package or whatever. You don't have yarn in this project, so don't use it. But
I already switched over to yarn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I figured it would be easier. So let's.
I have no idea what the npm node modules like problem that you were having is. But
yeah, who knows? So it doesn't like. Still doesn't like that. Yes.
check for the file, see if it's there.
Oh, damn it! You know what we did? We made the patch, and then we didn't run patch package again. So it didn't.
So it's got the token error. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just fix that again real quick, and then then I will actually run patch package again. So yarn patch package, JLangStore.
Yeah,
React.
Linda, we're definitely going through like the debugging flow intentionally. Like I could have just told him what to do intentionally, but you know, it's useful for people to see the errors, and that's kind of what we're doing here, right?
How would I learn if we didn't break it, right? So so let's run yarn breadbox again.
I agree. Break everything. In production, preferably.
On Friday. Well, bam! Look at it go. Yeah. So okay. So now we've got.
Now it should be in public web modules, right?
It should be in public web modules. Let's take a look. Here's public. Here's web modules. Ew. And now I can run Toast. Unexpected token export.
Yes.
Okay.
But we are running Toast now. Like Toast is working. The unexpected token export. We could run debug here if you wanted to look at the full output. I happen to already know where this is, but if we run debug equals star, and then maybe...
Do I need to escape it like that?
It's an environment variable.
Oh, I see what you're... Okay, gotcha.
So this uses Toast uses the debug package.
Look at it go!
Like a bunch of other things like Babel, etc. do. You can get rid of the Babel output if you do like comma minus Babel star, but not important. Honeycomb is in here. So in Toast, you can send like traces for your entire build for the network requests and the page builds and things like that to Honeycomb, and then like introspect it later to see how your builds are doing. And like, why is this slow? Oh, like that one request is slow.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, we have a problem with Gatsby Transformer Cloudinary.
Okay.
Which somebody I know built.
Man, it is all my code today. Jeez. Oh, okay. Well, so what do we need to do here?
So we need to go into that file, and we need to... Is Toast only about playing with node modules and package JSON? No, we just are like running into some common issues with publishing your own packages, especially if you're not like used to publishing industrial strength packages, right? If you don't have a package that has 1 million downloads, you won't run into most of the problems that we're running into right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think that something will happen, like as this matures, we'll start to notice these patterns, and most likely there will be a way to smooth this so that like for the vast majority of new projects, and like remember, this is a migration, right? We're taking a site that was all the way built in Gatsby and React, and we're porting it to Toast. So this is expected to break. Vinny, it's all
That's
my
hilarious.
code. Are we sure we want to keep learning with me? Look, I never claimed to be good at this stuff. That's why I bring teachers on to teach me.
I think I'm supposed to be the expert today.
Yeah, you're the adult here. You gotta keep us on
that's
track.
a little bit much.
Okay, so here's the file that's broken.
Yes. Do you know why?
All right, I think I need a.
Do I need to
adult
export
supervision here.
default, or do you want this to be like common JS, like module.exports?
It's going to be common JS. So
Got
the
it.
error that we were running into is basically like we have syntax here that is export from whatever, and this is not really valid node code, right? I mean, it is these days if you're using like the V14s and whatnot, but like for most people, this is not like runnable node code.
Oh yeah, I think actually I'm confused as to how I did this. I'll have to go look at it later and see what I did. That should work.
Let's find out.
So I should yarn patch package Gatsby transformer cloudinary.
See, you already know how to use patch package. So next time you run into something and I look at one of your repos, it's going to be like, Jason,
All
why do you have
patches.
25 patch packages?
Okay, so let's see if
repo
this
is 5 versions old on everything, and you patched everything.
okay,
Great.
so
we got
now
through.
we're missing CSS modules, which
Right.
CSS modules that's like a whole Webpack thing.
Well, no.
Well, it's sorry, I'm gonna stop talking.
No, I mean, like, that's good, right? Because people think that CSS modules are just a Webpack thing, right? And that's because the CSS loader used in Webpack has a modules thing that you can turn on basically by default. And a lot of people do.
Oh,
But CSS modules is a completely separate project. And we can basically use post CSS here. So like, as opposed to a system like Gatsby, where everything is a Gatsby plugin,
yeah.
and you have to install like the Gatsby wrapped version of anything that you want to use or it doesn't work,
Mhm.
we can just use post CSS, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're going to use post CSS.
Let's do it. So
in this case, we're going to add Babel plugin transform post CSS itself, and post CSS module.
Babel plugin post CSS, and what was the
Babel
last
plugin
one?
transform post CSS.
Oh, okay. And the last one was what?
Post CSS dash modules.
That looks correct.
It does, yes.
Okay. All right, so that's installed, and then down in here, we should see it all. Post CSS. Yep. Here's our Babel, and then I assume I can just do this here, right?
With the script, yes.
Like with
so
the
we're not
script?
going to run the script yet. We're
Oh,
not
okay.
like we'll need post CSS CLI later to do that. By the
Okay.
way. But we're gonna basically put this into the Babel config. And to do this, we're actually gonna patch a package on Toast.
Patch package on Toast.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. Now we're getting real
So-
weird.
There's two things here, right? One of them is that we have to add the Babel plugin, and I didn't give you an API to do that, so we have to go into Toast. There's a transforms file in here.
Oh, okay. Here. You see how I just immediately knew where that was? That was
Yeah.
100% a guess.
An educated guess. So we have to add in the config here, and I'm going to put the config into a gist, I think, and send it to you because
Okay. Yeah, if
it's
you
a
want
couple
to,
of things.
yeah, drop it in the Twitch chat because that's the only chat I have open right now.
Ooh, the only chat. You hear that,
John,
chat? He's only paying attention to you.
I only have eyes for you, chat. John Lindquist is in the chat right now. He's asking,
Hey, John.
could Next and Gatsby migrate away from Webpack and maintain the same structure?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, the problem with that is that their ecosystems rely so heavily on Webpack and Webpack loaders and Webpack plugins that everybody that uses them is using some kind of custom Webpack plugin or a Babel loader or something like that. And migrating away from that is an extremely hard technical problem, and also doesn't necessarily solve the problems that those meta frameworks want to solve, right? They want to solve the large scale, like they're both VC funded, right? If we're just gonna like talk about it fairly honestly, they're both VC funded, and they need to return 10x multiples on their investors' investment. They cannot focus on small blogs. They cannot focus on the things that like Eleventy and Toast and Veep can, right? They have to focus on these big enterprise customers, and big enterprise customers are going to use Webpack, and they're going to use Webpack for a very long time. Like it's not something that you can just flip a switch and be like, yes, now we don't use Webpack.
Yeah.
It has to kind of be rethought from the ground up, which is why I built a separate thing and didn't build like PRs for all of these Metaframeworks.
Sure. Cool. Okay. So we're in, I'm in the Babel config now, and I'm collapsing a couple things so we can kind of see what's going on. Cool. So we've got plugins. Am I going to drop that plugin in here? I'm
dropping this config in for you into the chat.
Okay.
So we have to add this plugin with a config. And this isn't necessarily the right config, but it's a config, and it will help us. We have to put it into both places. And your CSS files are named .modules.css.
Mm-hmm.
We can go into something later because what was that?
Hold on. So I do it like this?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think they're .module, like singular.
Are they?
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. And so then I'm going to patch package on
You
Toast.
have to put it in both transforms, by the way.
Both transforms. Where's the other one?
So one of them goes into Node and one of them goes into the browser. They're both in the same file.
Oh, here they are. Got it. So I'm going to put this one.
Roll down.
I don't know why that just reminded me. Do you remember like maybe 10-ish years ago? Maybe longer, actually, 20 years ago, there was a Bush's Baked Beans, and they had an ad campaign where the spokesman could hear his dog talk. And every commercial, he would always say, "Roll that beautiful bean footage." Do you remember that?
I do.
That's you just when you said scroll down, I thought, roll that beautiful bean footage. Beans on toast. Okay,
hey,
so
that works actually.
It does, yeah. I've had that. I think where did I have that? In
Probably
England, maybe. Beans on toast. I don't remember.
Feels like a UK thing.
Please no. Okay, so I have now patched Toast, which means I'm going to run another build. No.
This is actually a Toast bug. This is like a legit, I need to fix this bug in Toast situation, which is fun because we get to dig into the Toast code a little bit.
Wow, Lori just cutting right to the bone in the chat. No one was alive 20 years ago. Lori, listen.
Wow.
That is just hurtful to those of us who are growing long in the tooth out here.
I mean, to be fair, me and Lori were both alive then. I know that. I see you, Lori.
Shots fired. I am uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today. Oh, Amberly. Yes. So
I see you. Don't think I don't.
Hold on. Wait, are we doing this? Hold on. You come back.
Are
we're just doing like a...
We're staring at Lori, apparently.
Okay.
Okay,
too far.
Let's
Too many.
get on with the...
Yeah, we're going to run out of time.
Why did they run out of time? Because they just stared at the camera for half an hour.
Uncomfortable stares. All right, so let's for the... Okay, so I want to just point out here, this is the first time that it's not my code.
It's my code.
All right, I'm ready. So am I going back into Toast here?
Yeah, so we're going to go look at the incremental command in Toast.
Okay, here we go. Commands.
If you want to read the error message first and debug that, we can. But I already know what this problem is, so I can just tell you what it is.
So the path argument must be of type string. That leads me to believe that whatever we just did with the modules, or maybe not actually, but for whatever reason is not returning an actual string. I don't know a ton about what's going on under the hood. So it seems to me that there is a decent possibility path argument must be of type string. Where does it happen here? There's not a bug trace.
Yeah, we would have to run debug to get the full trace out here.
So
I'll tell you where it is because it's not in Toast.
Oh, it's not in Toast.
It's in the Babel plugin that we just installed. The Babel plugin that we just installed expects the file name of the file that is importing the CSS.
Got it. And we're not providing that.
And Toast is not providing that.
Okay. How do we patch that?
So we have these transform component functions. If you want to go into the transforms first, because that's probably the better place to do it.
Okay.
Babel has a config option called file name. So in transform component for Node and transform component for browser, we're going to add a second argument that is file name. And then we're going to pass it into the options for transform async. So right above Babel RC, you can just write file name.
Okay.
And this is interesting because from an infrastructure builder perspective, there are plugins that people build in the world that rely on APIs that we're not quite done with those yet.
I just wanted to touch stuff.
There are things that you build as an infrastructure provider or like an infrastructure library writer. And there are things that people write in userland, and the things that people write in userland end up depending on every possible functionality of the thing that exists, right? So Babel in itself has a ton of APIs, right? There's a bunch of things that happen inside of Babel. And Babel has so many users at this point and so many user-generated plugins that are written that almost every piece of functionality that exists in Babel has to be treated as a feature, right? And this is like a similar way to the Linux kernel to be like, this is a bigger project that does a similar thing. There are like, quote unquote, no bugs in the Linux kernel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no bugs in userland code, I suppose. If they're interacting with the Linux kernel kind of has to just support things forever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's not entirely true, but like that's very, very, very true. And this is kind of the same thing. So we have to, because we're using Babel and people use Babel in specific ways, we have to provide this information to Babel such that it can pass through, even though that plugin probably doesn't need to use this.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So now we've told it that it's going to get a file name, and we have to actually pass that in now.
Right. In Incremental, there's a couple of places that we need to have this.
So we've got transform component for Node, and the file name is going to be, let's see.
There's one on line 68 and there's one on line 80. So the one on line 68 is going to take full file path, which is defined 2 lines above it.
Okay.
And the one on line 80 is going to do the same thing.
The exact same.
Yeah, because this is basically like we're taking all of your source files and we're transforming them to either run in Node so that we can render HTML, or they run in the browser.
Got it. Now I should save the patch?
I think those are the only 2 that we do that in. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the PR if you want to make a PR later.
Got it. I will do it. I'm going to be a contributor. No post CSS config found. All right. Yep. So that's promising.
We need a post CSS config.
That means that things are working though. Like it's getting to the point where it at least recognizes that these are files, and then it breaks because post CSS isn't configured.
It recognizes that we have files. That's an improvement.
You know what I meant. So then I'm going. That means that I need to put. Let's see. What is it? Is it dot post CSS config, or what's the?
I'm going to add the file here. It's postcss.config.js.
Postcss.config.js. That's right.
And this to be to sort of remind chat.
So we would need to add code.
Indeed,
yes, we
we
do.
do.
Add code, I updated the gist with a post CSS config.
Oh, the gist. Got it. Going back to the gist. Good naming on this, by the way.
I just, sometimes you just got to get it out. Sometimes you just have to scream.
So we are requiring post CSS modules. And then we are getting the global CSS. Good.
Okay. So we could run into the problem. We will run into this problem if you want to comment the global module pass out. That's the solution to a problem that we'll run into. But the get JSON is also like, do we really need that? No, we don't really need to define that either. We just need the post CSS modules here.
Oh, that's really, we can just kind of.
Yeah, we can just kind of like comment out the other stuff right now.
Cool.
This is kind of, includes the bug code that I have here. But yeah, we can comment this out for now.
Okay.
And then I believe the default behavior is to plop out like a JSON file next to the thing that's importing. But did we need to run patch package?
I don't think so.
This is why you do it as a post install, people, because usually like you'll do this and then you'll be like, oh, dang, it didn't work. Oh, wait, it's the thing I changed.
Module not found. Cannot find. Okay, so now we're on to SVG.
Yeah. So our CSS is now sort of like working, and we have CSS modules in our Toast application. We didn't need to change any of our CSS. We didn't need to move to a CSS and JS solution. This is like a pure port like thing, right?
Yeah.
We just ported what you already had into working into this system using regular like API, like regular post CSS API.
Yeah. And the reason that I like the CSS modules is because it is just plain CSS, which means that you can mess around in your browser and then copy paste it in. But then when you go to actually use it, so like we're looking at the, let's not look at 404, let's look at a different one. Here's bio. So the bio, you've got your heading and then you've got like your cycle. So if I go to bio here, then I import styles from the module. And then I just get to use the class names however I want. So styles.control, and then I know that in this this bio.module, there's going to be a .control class, and those are the styles that get applied. So it's a great way for me to kind of get the benefits of CSS and JS, where we've got scope module names, we don't get the global scope collisions, but we still get, like, we write regular CSS. We can edit it in the browser dev tools, and that's kind of where I land on this. Is I feel like the CSS and JS stuff is really, really powerful, but in my experience, at least, it gets a little hard to manage when you've got tons and tons and tons of styles in your JSX. And that is
an opinion that Toast has to support.
Exactly. You got to do what I want. You don't get to tell me what to do.
As an infrastructure project, we kind of just have to do that. We kind of have to support that.
Yeah, you're not the boss of me.
Also, somebody earlier, I think Ashley, got the exact same error that we just saw in the Babel plugin in a different project.
Oh, nice. So, see, this is and I think
educational.
Like, there are two ways that you could look at what's going on in this stream, right? Like one is you could say, oh my God, why don't you just get to the part where you write toast? And like that, yes, we could have just skipped ahead, but I think the more valuable thing and the thing that I think is really worth talking about here is like what we're doing right now. This is what I feel like a lot of development is. You're taking existing code and then you're just digging through, okay, I want to do this thing. How do I untangle this and get to the part where I can do the thing that I want to do? Because greenfield code is great. And like working on greenfield code, yeah, I would love it if I could just burn down everything that I had built and just start fresh every single time. But that's not practical, especially when you start getting to scale. So being able to debug through your node modules, being able to trace error messages back and figure out how to patch things so that you can get the thing that you need to do done, that I think is, that's the stuff that's really going to actually progress you further along in your career and get you to the point where you're just an asset on every team, instant drop in, up and running quick, because these skills go everywhere. Okay,
we've got a bunch of agreement in chat from Lori, who says no one gets to write from scratch.
Yes.
And Derek, who's saying me plus Rust last week.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, so okay, so we've patched Toast. We've patched a couple of my plugins, and now we're up to the point where we've got SVGs that we need to be able to load.
So you're importing SVGs, which also doesn't work in the browser. And my mic is about to get
you got sirens.
overrun by alarms.
I actually didn't realize that I was importing I didn't realize I was doing that. And I'm okay to not do that. We can move them to a different folder.
Well, we're going to do it
all
because
right, yeah, let's
that's
do it.
the way you have it written here, and we're going to support it. So basically, the general strategy for if you're doing this kind of thing with Webpack and you want to move it and not change it into Toast is that you're going to use a Babel plugin to do it.
Okay.
Because we are running Babel on this, we kind of have to. Because not everything is like really perfectly supported. Specifically, when we're talking about imports, as we'll get into a little bit later, like the way that ESM imports work in Node is slightly different than the way that ESM imports work in the browser. Is definitely different than the way that you're used to using imports in Webpack. So we have to kind of massage all of that kind of stuff to be like URL imports in the browser and then like bare imports in Node and things like that. So we have to run Babel over stuff until there's more support later, and then one day maybe we'll be able to get rid of it. Which is kind of the idea, right? Like we're using Snowpack to do this stuff, to do the third-party package dependency bundling for now. In the future, when people are shipping and writing ESM packages by default, we won't need to do that because it'll just work.
Yep. Excellent.
You know. Okay. So
we can dream. Okay. So I assume I'm going to need a new Babel plugin.
True. You've got everything patch packaged, right? I saw you do it for Toast.
Yes, I did.
Cool. We're going to import or install Babel plugin inline React SVG.
Babel plugin inline React SVG.
Yep.
Okay. And then
this is I think an Airbnb plugin that they wrote.
I buy it.
But the idea is basically like the SVGs that get imported here get converted through SVGO and then turned into React components.
Okay.
So you need to add it here. Yeah.
And then is there any config with it, or do I just drop it straight in?
I don't think there's any config with it. You just need to drop it in.
What was it called? I'm going to copy paste this.
I have it specified as inline React SVG, but you can do the full shenanigans if you.
Oh wait, you can do it without the.
Yeah.
The thing?
So like all of the Babel plugins are prefixed with Babel plugin, so it'll look for a package that is prefixed with Babel plugin, and you don't actually have to redo that boilerplate all the time.
Wait. Okay, I gotta run the patch package first, because otherwise it's gonna. Oh no! Did it not keep it? It dumped all of our stuff.
It looks like you have changes.
Oh wait, let me don't save. Come back up here. Get it again.
If we don't, we can just copy in the config that we had before, right?
Here it is. Okay, so now it's working. So I'm going to drop this one in.
So what just happened is that VS Code will hold on to the changes that you've made in a file, even though the underlying file has changed.
Yes.
On disk. So by getting rid of the changes that we had kind of like in the editor, we can bring the actual file back in.
Do you need me to change anything else in here before I save this out?
Just the inline SVG.
Okay. So I have now patched, repatched. Okay.
Repatched.
And if I build, maybe.
Were you ever a patch person? Like, did you have patches on stuff?
No, but not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't figure out how to get them to stick. Because I like either the iron that I had in my house was not very good, or I just was not patient enough to do them properly. But they never stuck; they would just fall off. So I was the kid who put safety pins in everything.
Oh yeah,
I used to have and
everything.
Oh yeah, and I had like long sleeve shirts, and I did this thing where I would cut the top of the long sleeve shirts all the way down, and then safety pin them back together.
Hardcore kid thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, emo kids. Okay, so I've done something wrong. My bio
You've
component.
done nothing wrong. Actually.
We're missing a toFixed. So let's go see.
So
what
if
that
we
is.
act for toFixed, we're gonna find it in one place, and it's not gonna be in bio.
No.
Like you have to act node modules actually. So you might not even find it here. There we go.
It's in Matter.
It's in Matter.
What up, Matter?
We're actually not going to do anything to Matter. We're just going to comment out bio mostly.
Oh, so we're just going to drop the...
We're just going to move forward because like we could debug this and try to figure out why it's calling toFixed and where it's doing that, and etc. And maybe you already know, but mostly we're just going to comment out bio for now, get the site working, and then go back to it.
Where is this? There's a use effect that calls matter, and if I just drop that out, I think.
So the way that you have this set up, because I've gone through this code, is that use effects calls useboop, calls matter, calls like a bunch of different things. So I highly advise just commenting out basically the file and exporting. Like you export a bio component that you use somewhere else. Just export an empty bio component basically.
Cool. Done. All right,
Derek
so we'll
is
just
going, wow, that's an aesthetic for the safety pins.
Oh, yeah, it was a yeah. Okay. So we're getting closer. Can't find my data.
Yep, and we're going to skip this too for a second. So go to the writing.js file that you have in here.
Okay.
And it's doing this like upward import thing. Just do const writing equals empty array. Like that.
Okay.
And this is just for kind of like speed purposes. Like we could go in and fix all these things with his site, but it's not really particularly relevant because we've already done that kind of thing. And this is just kind of like this is the kind of manual mundane porting. Like I need to add an extension to every single file. Kind of like we don't necessarily want to do that on stream. So the problem here, you have dark mode, you have use settings, and if you look at Gatsby browser and Gatsby SSR, they have something.
Yes, I'm doing a wrapper component. So we're giving away my Easter eggs. Okay.
Easter eggs. Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, not really, but
zero remorse. Okay.
Zero remorse.
Okay, so here we go. We've got a settings provider which comes out of this context file. So I need to put this around toast. So so what's happening in Gatsby is Gatsby operates by creating a root element, which is like a root component, and then everything else in the app happens there. And if you want to, you can tell Gatsby to wrap the whole app component with whatever you want, which is a great way to do custom providers. Like if you're using context, if you're using auth, if you know anything that needs to stay consistent across the whole app, you would use this wrap root element. So Toast, I presume, has a similar approach or a similar way to solve that.
Nope.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we have a page wrapper.
Okay.
I've updated the gist if you want to use the code that I have there. If you want to try it yourself, you can create a file in source pagewrapper.js.
Okay, so basically you've ported this whole thing into page wrapper. So what's different? Let's copy this, and I'm going to create. This goes in the root of source, right?
Well, yes, in the root of source.
In the root of, yeah, that was poorly worded.
I thought you were going to be like in the root of the project, and then I was like, no. But then halfway through, you had me in the first half.
I had you in the first half. Okay, so the difference between this one and the Gatsby browser is, so in Gatsby browser we're importing React. In PageWrapper we're importing Preact, and we're setting, this is a pragma. If you're not familiar with pragmas, don't worry about it too much. We're basically saying, hey, when you parse JSX, instead of using React.createElement, use the Preact H pragma, which is...
And that's not critically necessary. It's just because I wrote a new file. So like when you talk about like legacy applications or like brownfield applications, as they're sometimes called, you want to do things like as you move forward. So because we're creating a new file here, I'm writing it in the new way. We didn't really have to do that. We could have just like copied the React code over, but because this is a new file and we can write it in the like not proper but like the new format,
yeah,
I wrote it in the new format.
Yeah, So we import the settings provider again. This
Also,
is
you might want to get rid of the .js there because that comes later.
okay. And then we, instead of exporting a const wrap root element, we just export a React component. So this is a little, it honestly is just like more familiar. Do I need a div around it, or can I?
I don't think you need the div around it, but
Yeah, we'll just let it roll the way that it did in the regular old app. And that means, I think, are we going to get a build? Show me toast. Show me toast. Show me toast.
Me the jam. So we got to build.
Look at it go. All right. So now if I do what? What do I do?
npx serve public. So we're just serving from a static HTTP server.
Got it.
And we're doing it from the public directory, which is where all our stuff is.
Heyo. All right.
We have the toast site now.
So this is a toast site. We've got like this is very cool. So
potato salad.
Indeed. And it looks like things are not working.
Your styles aren't around, right? So like,
yeah.
The things that you have set up to be clickable and styled and whatnot are just.
I also appear to have some kind of weird overlay on the whole site for some reason.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't know where.
Oh,
you're doing
it's this canvas.
because
So things are
styled.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the boop drop on the homepage that is inline styled to be full width, but because the wrapper styles aren't applied, it's taking over the full width of the whole window.
But if we look at the console output, there's a couple of problems here, right? And this is the big thing for ESM based sites. Like, I mean, it's not like the big thing, but like this is a thing that people run into all the time, right? None of these imports have .js on them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're not importing files. Like, open one of them in a new tab.
Oh, on one of these
in the browser. Yeah, open one of those in the new tab.
New tab.
Hey, look, we 404'd, but if you add .js on the end,
There's a file.
you get the file.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the way the browser works. The browser doesn't work the same way as Node does. It doesn't do automatic resolution of arbitrary extensions. You're asking for a URL, and you have to get back that URL.
Got it.
So, like, you could set up your server to redirect all of these to JavaScript files if you wanted to. But in reality, these have to be pointing at actual files. And like, to an extent, we could sit here and do this. You don't have to do it on React. It does it automatically for React. So import React from React is what's called a bare import, because React is an NPM package name. And Snowpack takes care of that for us, actually. It rewrites React using an import map in the public web modules, import map.js, JSON, one of those two, file. And it will rewrite React to basically the Preact, actually, that we had earlier.
Okay.
So as you add .js here to all of these files, your site will slowly start working more and more.
So let's roll through
There are
these.
a lot of files here, though. So,
On the bright
know.
side, I think we're getting close, actually.
I mean, the site works now, right? Like the things that we need to do from here on out are very basic, mundane. Like, we have a brownfield site. We need to change some of the imports. We have a brownfield site. We need to make sure that we include the global CSS file, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are like, we've done all the hard stuff, right? We've done all of the things that are like, our Gatsby site is now a Toast site. Anything that we need to do from here on out is sort of like making our new experience nicer.
Yeah, and this is very cool because it really does feel like, you know, we're not doing anything wild here. We're just going in and telling the browser where to find files. So we lose a couple conveniences, like automatically knowing that all of these are, you know, local JavaScript files, because we gave it a path and it like tries .js, .jsx, .ts, you know, whatever other extensions are available. But it really, like, now the thing that's interesting about this is we can run this directly in the browser, whereas like you can't do that with a Webpack bundled site, because you're not getting the I need to actually start this. I need to build it again.
Yeah, you do need to build it.
So let's.
Toast doesn't have a dev server today. It's still early tech in that sense. It will at one point have one. And actually, the really nice thing about ES module dev servers is that you can build everything on demand because it only imports like a couple of files. This is an important warning that we're going to have to fix in a second.
Okay, so let me start the server again. And let's see what happens. Okay, so we're much closer, but we're missing the global CSS, and we're missing this Preact.
So
here.
Let's start with Preact.
Okay.
There's a config and package JSON inside of Snowpack called known entry point.
Okay, so let's go here, inside of Snowpack.
So what Snowpack usually does is it scans all your imports and says, these are all the things you use. These are the things that I'm going to like do. Or these are the things that I'm going to compile and make available to your application. Right? And we don't actually import Preact because we were using a React-based Gatsby site, right? So we didn't actually have that import anywhere, and it never found it. So if we go, it's inside of install options. So move it
install
up,
options,
up
okay.
one. And then here we're just going to have an array instead of an object.
Okay.
And we're going to type Preact.
Oh, that's not bad.
No. So this is a way of basically like telling Snowpack, hey, I'm also going to use this, even though it doesn't look like I'm going to.
Nice. Okay. And and then I need a breadbox, right? Breadbox. Okay. Doesn't like Preact compat.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So we aren't ignoring like the build directory. So just rmrf public for now. And we can add that option in later.
Okay.
Right. Because it searched into the public folder, found Preact compat.js because
okay.
And then tried to compile it into web modules. That's just a small config option that you can.
And so now that we've done that, we can see here's Preact.
Yep.
So if I build, okay, no errors. Hey, no errors, no warnings.
Done
and we can
3.5
yarn
seconds.
npx.
That's a full production build, by the way.
That's wild. Like, because and if we look at actually, well, let's just look. We've got.
Oh, are we going to? Oh.
Is that it? Let's see how long these are taking. So that same, I mean, it is like a super fast site. It's not very complex, but apples to apples, the build time for Gatsby. Wait, what?
I think it says
no build command? That doesn't seem right. Is this the right repo? No. So it's going to be something else. Let's look.
What did you name it?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe this one? There it is. All right. How long does this take to build? This one takes 38 seconds, and the Gatsby build is 14.4. So we're like four to five times faster with the same code for production builds. And this one also, we should point out, is using a cache, which I guess Toast is as well, right?
Not for that.
No. Okay. So yeah, it's snappy. Like it's real snappy. So let's go take a look at the site. And are we getting any errors? It says,
so yeah, we do need to look at layout.js.
Layout.js.
Or actually, yes.
Page wrapper?
We're importing that global CSS from layout, right? And it looks like also source context settings from page wrapper. Remember, I had you take off that .js.
Oh, that's right, you did. Wait, I saved.
I knew we were going to run into
I forgot to save it. Okay, so now in layout.js, we have this.
Yes. So you remember that config for the post CSS that I told you to take out?
Yeah.
Go back.
Let's go put it back in.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was
in postcss.config.js.
oh down yeah. Sorry.
It's in your site. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this one.
The global module path is the one that you want.
Okay. So then, do I need to do anything else?
Yes, because Toast isn't like wrapping everything. We're not putting like caches and stuff in like any specific directory and not in like all of these different things. Like we aren't forcing everybody in the ecosystem to do it our way. So because we're using PostCSS modules puts the cache file in /temp. So if you ls/temp, you should be able to see the folder. There's going to be a couple of things in here. The one that we're looking for is something like JSON AF in there. It'll be long. It'll be like the full file path, whatever directory you're in right now.
Great question.
I think I see it there, actually.
You do?
Scroll a little down.
Oh, here.
BTP, JSON AF.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so we can remove that. If you ls inside of that, you'll see the cache.
BT. It's so all right. So I'm.
But you see these cache files? Those
Oh, yeah.
actually have like the content of your module. So like, for example, this is how you would cache like PostCSS configs or the PostCSS files in like CI or something. You could just take these, put them where they need to be, and be done. But you can look at them if you want to. You can cat one of them, or you can just remove the folder.
Yeah, I don't care. So let's just remove this folder.
I mean, it just looks like a PostCSS thing, so like, not super interesting.
So I have done the damage.
You removed the styles in your app. Oh wait, no, you didn't.
No. I just removed
those are added files. Okay.
Yeah. I just removed that one. Okay, so if I rebuild now, we should be. Do I need to prepare again or breadbox?
No, shouldn't you do?
Okay, so I'm going to build. Okay, and then we're going to npx.
The long build time increase. 4.7 seconds.
What happened?
A whole second.
Oh my god.
Okay. But yeah, anytime you like add stuff into the build, you end up with slower builds, right? So this is why when you're doing a Gatsby site and you have images in your build, this is why it's super fucking slow. Because that's a lot of processing and it's finicky.
Yeah.
But now we're running this code now. Like as we sort of like incrementally improve our imports and stuff like that, we're running all the code. And if we go back to that layout file that does the global import, we're not actually using that anymore, right?
We're not?
Well, think about what's going to happen here. Like we just specified that that's a global file. So what do we need to do? We need to add it to a link tag.
Add you to a link tag. Okay, so I'm gonna.
So before we do that, let's actually run PostCSS on the CSS file so that we get the output.
I think I did, right?
You ran the Babel plugin that does the JSON stuff.
I understand. Okay, so we need to actually do the PostCSS CLI.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do yarn add. Is it just PostCSS CLI or is it a?
Yeah, it's PostCSS-CLI.
Got it.
And then I pasted the command in
right in the chat.
You're gonna have to run.
Okay.
Right in the chat, so everybody can see it. Yeah, like tends to being like what's old is new. And one of the things that Toast lets you do is like just use the browser APIs that exist because they're getting pretty good.
Unknown word.
Yeah, remove those JSON files. Fine.
Remove.
You don't actually use those JSON files in the end.
I get it.
So if you want to prevent them from being like printed, you can override that getJSON function in postcss.config.
Okay, I'm gonna try something.
Ooh,
this is
exciting.
Danger zone. Okay,
Jason's
styles.
doing bash scripts.
I'm gonna do a 404 just to do the one.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh God, did it? Okay, all right. So that did work. So
Yep.
I'm going to do this. Ah, I am a genius. All right, let's try this again.
Go to before you do this. Go to your.
Too late.
Yeah,
I already did it.
we're it.
Damn it. Okay, all right. So let me delete these again.
We're good.
Oh, you need these?
Fine. You don't need those. I was just gonna say if you don't want them to get like generated again because you like they're just kind of sitting there. In your post CSS config, there's a function that I implemented that will just not output them. So you get to like use the actual post CSS APIs for like doing stuff.
Oh, nice.
Such as putting things in different places, and like you can get rid of that console log if you don't want it. But like this gives you the file name, the like JSON output that you just saw, and like where it thinks it should go in the output file. So you can put these anywhere you want, like public if you needed to, or something like that. Or you could do any processing to them if you wanted to.
But for our purposes, we're not going to use the JSON at all, right?
Right. It's already embedded in your app.
Okay. So then in that case, what I'm probably going to do is just no op this.
Right.
So I'll keep that in case I ever decide that I do want to do something with it. But for now, we'll just no op it. I did remove these styles, right? Yes.
Boop it.
And then, yes, boop it. Build. It does the thing. We end up with, in the public folder, styles. Excellent. And now I need to update the layout.
One of those styles should be the global file.
Yes. There it is. And so now in my public folder, I have my layout component, which will be in the components folder here. In layout, I can use helmet. So instead of this...
Let's not use helmet, actually.
Oh, where do you want me to put it?
You have a link tag down here, right? Well, actually, yes.
It's in
use helmet, but put a link tag.
Got it. Yeah. Okay,
That's,
cool.
You know.
Perf happen. Question. Where should you put your... Whatever. We'll do it like this. Rel style sheet. And our href is going to be, it's in public. So we're going to do styles global.css. And then I can drop this out. Okay. So let's build somewhere in here. Oh, doesn't like that. What did it miss? Unexpected token export. I need to
package.
Yarn patch package.
This is why we've set up the post install. But because we were doing a bunch of like in development work, calling it manually was what we wanted.
Heyo. All right. So then I can, now that I'm actually going to set that up so it doesn't get us again. Just going to turn on this post install script so that whenever we add something new, it'll just run that for us.
We're still doing kind of development. So like,
do you want me to keep it out?
Yeah, keep it out because it makes it, I mean, it makes everything more clear.
Got it. Got it.
If we run into an issue, there's no question about whether it was the post install or not.
Okay. So let's serve public here. Oh, we are way over time.
Are we?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so
the site styled. So we would just be like importing the other CSS files in the same kind of way-ish. And
okay, so
you can choose to concat them all together and ship them as a single file or do whatever you want.
Well, actually, so here's a question. When we do the CSS modules, they get the CSS modules get imported, but we're not getting the compiled CSS file. So we need to do what? Like, is there a way to automate?
Concat them, yeah. And Post CSS has tools for doing that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to do that in a kind of a follow up. But just watch this repo, because what we'll do is like, I'm gonna continue porting this. I'm gonna get this site moved over. So if you want to see how the rest of this goes, I'm gonna push all the changes up to the JSON-AF repo. And man, time really flies when you're having fun, right? Like I didn't realize that we were over time. So okay, we gotta wrap it up. So let me do a quick shout out to the sponsors again. Thank you to Whitecoat Captioning for giving us captions today. We really appreciate that. Thank you to Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0 for kicking in to make the captioning possible. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Anywhere that you want people to go for more information, we've got the new Toast site repo here.
Yeah, so we did hard mode on this stream. If you want easy mode, here's a repo. It already works. Like you can do it from scratch if you want to. It's
Excellent.
Much easier. We just did a bunch of hard mode stuff for porting an existing app.
Yeah, and do remember, you can always come to the Party Corgi Discord if you want to get support, if you want to talk to people who are working on this stuff. There are a bunch of us in there who are all doing work on Toast, so you can get more of a like fun, supportive environment of people who are kind of going through the same process right now. So yeah, this is a lot of fun, right? Like we were able to get a lot of distance covered in a little over an hour and a half. I think we're probably another 30 minutes away from getting everything but the bio working, which is pretty excellent. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing like where Toast goes in the future. So if you're interested, join the Discord, follow the repos, give this a try. With that, chat, thank you so much. Stay tuned. We're gonna raid, and we will see you next time.